Hey everybody, I pray you all had a very Merry Christmas and are looking forward to a great New Year's Eve and an exciting start to 2025. As we end the year, we often think back over the previous year and ponder on what we loved about the year, what we would change, and where we hope to change or grow in for the new year. I don't know about you, but I use the word busy way too much in my vocabulary. Someone can ask, how are you doing, or how have you been? The typical response I give is busy. Being busy isn't bad if you're actually fulfilling your mission and accomplishing what you were meant to accomplish. But too often I've found that I'm busy, but I'm not always busy with the right things or the important things. Have you ever thought, if I just had 30 hours in the day, I could get all the stuff that I need to get done and be finished? But none of us have 30 hours in a day, so we have to instead learn to be good stewards of the time that we do have, because we all have 24 hours each and every day. Have you ever looked at someone who seems to be super productive and they're getting so many things done in life, but then you look at your life and you feel like, I come up short in comparison? I know I have. I have pastor friends who write books, lead enormous churches, speak at conferences, all while hosting weekly leadership podcasts. And when I see what they're doing, I often feel like, how do they do it? I mean, they have the same 24 hours in a day that I have, and it seems like they're getting way more done than I am. So what gives? How do they accomplish all that they're doing? Well, I don't want to speak to you this morning so much about doing more, as much as I want to speak to you about making sure that what you do is effective and it's making a difference. Basically, helping all of us start our new year with a plan and a hope to maximize all that God has given us and make our life fulfilled and purposeful. Well, as we dig into this today, maybe you're sitting there and you're saying, I hear you, Pastor. I want 2025 to be my best year yet. I want to be productive, effective, and see my life make an impact. Well, that's great because I do too. So where do we start? Well, I think it all comes down to one word: priorities. I think one of the main reasons we can feel like we're too busy all the time and we're not doing anything really substantial or meaningful can come down to a matter of jumbled priorities. Because our issue isn't so much a shortage of time, it's a problem of our priorities and how we spend our time. You see, the old saying that hard work won't kill us can be true, but what can kill us is stress, and it can cause us to feel frustrated with life and fill us with all this doubt and anxiety of unfinished tasks. The undone things in life drive me crazy. Maybe it's all the things on your list from 2024 that you plan to do and get done this year, but you never got around to them. Well, what I want to do today is challenge you to focus. That's my personal word for 2025, to focus. Ask God this morning to help you focus on what really matters as you head into your new year. What should your priorities be? And what should you maybe change that's taking up so much of your time that you need to let go of and divert your focus on other things? When we look at Jesus' life, one thing that I admire about him is that he was balanced. He was never rushed or in a hurry, even when other people tried to rush him and make him hurry. One time his disciples tried to hurry him up and urge him to move on to the city of Judea, and as they pushed him, he responded with, "My time has not yet come." When Mary and Martha panicked and urged him to come quick because their brother Lazarus was sick, Jesus didn't leave immediately and go with them, and they got upset. We're going to have to live with the fact that there are going to be people that get upset with us when we don't do what they want us to do when they want us to do it. Because they wanted a healing, and Jesus was preparing them for a miracle, a resurrection, something far more powerful. So if you're listening today and you feel rushed, if you feel busy and frustrated, and you feel like your schedule this last year has dictated you instead of you dictating your schedule, then hear me. Jesus wants to give you relief. Jesus never let urgency dictate his schedule. The key to Jesus' balanced life was every day he first met with the Father and got his cues and directives from him, and Jesus only did the things that the Father told him to do. So I have to ask myself, and I ask you to ask yourself as well, if Jesus was only busy being about the Father's business and he was never hurried or rushed, could it be that we feel like we do sometimes because I'm busy doing things that I shouldn't be doing? Maybe they're good things, but they're not God things. And I may be stressed and stretched because my schedule is full of things that God never intended or asked me to do in the first place. Just something for you and I to think about. Sometimes we waste valuable time by hoping things will change, that our life and schedule will magically fall into place, but let me tell you, it doesn't. So what do? Well, with this being my last message to you for this year, I would say that to change your present, Sometimes it's more about changing your attitude than anything. My challenge is for all of us today to take a little life inventory and evaluate what we allow to fill our days. A man by the name of Charles Hummel wrote a paper years ago, and I've read it many times, and it was actually 57 years ago. He wrote a paper entitled Tyranny of the Urgent. I challenge you to look that up and read it. He was addressing the very thing that we've been talking about. What are considered urgent things in our lives? Urgent things are those emergencies that pop up and demand our immediate attention, and life's full of them. They're the do me now things. They can also be daily things that we know have to be done. Well, what Hummel was saying is that we often allow the urgent things of life, the emergencies, to crowd out the important things in life. Important things are those things in life that they matter. They need our attention and they need to be done, but we could very easily put them off. Things that if we're not careful but could be easily put off indefinitely. Things like spending time with our family, date night, reading the Word, spending time in prayer. You know, I love the scripture, Ephesians chapter 5:16, and it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. We need to make our time count, make it matter this next year. We've all heard the saying that time flies, and it truly does fly by. But we have to remember that if time flies by, we are the pilot. We have to choose what we're going to give our time and our effort to. Time management boils down to the art of the trade-off. Again, we all have the same number of hours in our day, and to add something to our schedule means something else has to be taken off. Let me say that again. You can't keep adding to your schedule without taking something off your schedule. And our tendency is to take off or put off the most important things in our life, like family time or time with Jesus. Why? Because we think we can always do those things later, and the urgent things seem to be screaming for our attention. So as you head into the new year and you're thinking about all the things that you're going to start doing, before you make that list of what you're going to start, you're going to have to also make a list of the things that you're going to stop doing. There are some things that you're doing that you're going to have to stop doing in order to make time for the things in your life that matter most. If you don't start redeeming your time like we've talked about, it'll be very easy to feel like you're about to lose your mind, because I've felt that way. Trust me. So I've adopted what I call my 3-step sanity principle. Step number 1, set you some priorities. What are the most important things that you need to do, that you need to make a point of doing? The norm for us is to do the easiest things first. But if we're not careful, that means we don't get to the important things that we really need to do. Step 2 is to take 5 minutes at the start of each of your days to prioritize where your time is going to be spent for that day. Don't just wing it and hit the ground running, because to fail to plan is to plan to fail. So we've got to seek God. Just like Jesus did, ask God, what do you want me to do with my day today? And at the end of that day, take 3 to 5 minutes to ask yourself if you actually did the things that you needed to do. You know, a friend of mine has a sign on their garage door that they read every time they walk into their house, and it's time before they go in and see their family. It says, if you don't have enough emotional energy left for the people inside this house, quit your job. Now, I know we all have our days where we're exhausted, but let those not be our norm. Our family deserves the best of our time and the best of us, not our leftovers. And when we're together, be together. Too often we can be in the same location in the same room but not be connected. We can be out to dinner and all of us are sitting at the same table, but we're all on our phones and we're not interacting. Or we can all be in the same house but never together in the same room. This next year, I urge you, give your family and your friends the gift of being present. Be with them in each and every moment. Step 3 to your sanity is to give yourself time once a month. Just take 30 minutes to inventory how you spent your time the last month. Because when it comes down to time management, not to decide is to decide. I want this next year to make the most of the time that God has given you and the time that God has given me. And if I don't intentionally spend my time, then I'll waste those moments that I'll never get back. So let's spend our days wisely, church. It seems like we're always fighting the good, better, or best war. What is the best use of the time and the energy that we have? Because I think we can easily get tired or even get in a hurry, and we settle. Settle for something that's less than the best that God wants to give us. So to wrap all this up, think about your life and realize this next year that there's always going to be things that we have to walk away from that are good, things that we have to walk away from that are better, but they aren't the best. Good and better are the enemy of God's best, because it can be good and it can be a good thing, but is it a God thing? I want God's best for you, and I want God's best for me, and I hope you do too. So today, or sometime in the near future, get together with your friends and your family and start making some plans as to how you're going to spend your time individually, and then how you're going to spend your time together as friends and family. Challenge each other, and then hold each other accountable. Are you accomplishing what you've set out to do for this next year? The things that you feel like God has called you as an individual to do. Don't put off the important, because your life is overflowing with the influx of the urgent. Church, I am so ready for this next year, and I'm ready to redeem the time. That's why we're starting off our year with 21 days of prayer and fasting, and that starts next Sunday, January 5th at 6 p.m. And if you want more information on that and on how to fast, we've got information on our church website. You can go check it out, or you can just simply go on the internet and Google Daniel Fast, and you'll get all the information that you need. But church, I love you. Happy New Year, and I can't wait to see you all next Sunday.